Hello, everybody, and welcome into a Tuesday, March 29th edition of the Unreasonable Odds podcast. If you are watching, you see a guest that you probably know well by now. He's been on a few times with us, and we just recently spoke to him during the conference tournaments of March Madness, right after UNC upset Duke to close out Coach K's career at home. And now we're going to talk to him with Duke and Carolina meeting in the Final Four. First meeting in the tournament, unbelievable. Other matchup, Villanova and Kansas. Jeff Goodman from Stadium. Welcome back onto Unreasonable Odds, sir.
Good to be back. Good to be back. It feels like I spoke to you like 3 months ago. I've been so many places in between when we last talked that like I don't even remember. And I lost a ton of money in Vegas too. So that was funny.
I was in Vegas. I don't think we overlapped. I was there for the opening weekend of the tournament. You've been bouncing around to all kinds of tournaments. But let's not waste any time. We were whittled down to 4. Wild tournament headlined by the Peacocks stealing America's heart.
Yep.
But now there are 4, and of course it is the Blue Bloods. Kansas and Nova on one side, Duke and Carolina on the other. Let's start with the earlier game. Kansas and Nova. This one opened 3 on DK Sportsbook. It sits 4.5.
Yeah.
I was waiting as quickly as I could to jump in. I got it at Kansas minus 3.5 because you knew this would move. I'll give you the floor, but the analysis was simple to me. I mean, I don't care as much about Kansas's momentum, but Kansas's second half against Miami was probably the best half on both sides of the ball anybody's played in the tournament. And then you just go to Nova. Great team. They're nails. They have the balls to go 15 of 15 from the free throw line to go to a Final Four. There's not many teams like that, and you don't want to bet against teams that can do that. But they have a 6-man rotation. Justin Moore, in my opinion, is their second best player. He's either second, third, fourth. They have a great starting five. Great shooter. Yep. He's out there 35, 36 minutes. Torn Achilles. Now you go from a 6-man rotation to a 5-man rotation, with that 5th starter not being anything special. And then what are you going to get from bench? This is the thing that I don't even know. So tell me what I can expect from Villanova here, because I don't even know that anybody on their bench now because they don't play any of them.
Ryan Arcidiacono's brother. That's who's going to play.
He's going to start now, right?
Well, they'll probably start Daniels. They'll probably start Caleb Daniels and bring Archie's brother off the bench. So okay. I think it'll still be, listen, the bottom line is they're going to play 5 dudes 35 minutes or more if they can. And again, I think to me, the biggest question mark, like you said, losing Moore is huge, but Kansas and Bill Self in particular utilizes his bigs more than anybody else, no matter how good or bad they are. He goes to them. I mean, he goes to them, and Villanova's got one big, Eric Dixon, and he generally plays 25 to 30 minutes. Now he's going to have to play 30 minimum if he's on the court. Now they're going to try to get him in foul trouble.
McCormick gets him in foul trouble early, then they're really screwed.
Yeah, because then you go with like, I love Brandon Slater, but then you got to play him at the 5. Unless Villanova makes, to me, they need to make at least 13 threes. They got to make at least 13 threes to have a shot. Gillespie's got to be on. Caleb Daniels has to be on. Slater's got to be more aggressive. Listen, you don't put anything past the program of culture, which is Villanova. They've won 2 national titles in the last 6 years, but they're just so thin, and Justin Moore's injury crushes them. And again, Kansas can expose the lack of front court depth that Villanova has, and also Remy Martin. That's the other thing. Okay, so they got bigs they can throw to, and you got Remy Martin who's able to get in the seams and get to the basket. He's got that burst back. And what are you going to do if you're Eric Dixon there?
Yeah. And Agbaji hasn't even played well yet in this tournament. So if he decides to show up in New Orleans, it's the public side. It's everybody seems to share the same opinion here, but and fading Villanova hurts. Like it's tough to do, but I don't see it here. There's got to be a hangover when you lose a piece that big on a team that thin against a team like Kansas.
I like teasing both Kansas and Duke here.
So you'll get, I'll tell you this, just
Yep.
don't even, this is an odds thing. This is a sports book thing.
Yep.
Don't even tease it, because teasers are like minus 120. If you just money line parlay Kansas and Duke, you're going to get like plus 125 ish.
That's what I do.
You'll just get a better
Yeah.
payout on the money line parlay.
Yeah, that's probably what I do. Again, do I think Villanova could keep it close? Do I think Carolina could keep it close? Yes. I just feel like both of them at the end of the day, Kansas is going to wear Villanova down. That's the one I feel stronger about.
Yep.
Out of the two, just because I could see Villanova playing with him for 20, and then poor Eric Dixon is going to be, if he's on the court for 35 minutes, and that'd be the dream for Jay Wright to keep him on the court. Look at it. He's barely played. He plays 25 to 30 every night. I know the TV timeouts are long, but he's going to have Big David McCormick. And when Big Dave's not in there, he's going to have Mitch Lightfoot, who plays with a ton of energy. So two totally different bigs coming at him 20 minutes apiece all game.
So I'm with you. My two biggest plays of the tournament so far have been I laid 4.5 points with Villanova against Ohio State.
Yep.
That one got there. And I haven't been having a great tournament, but the bigger bets have been getting there. That one got there. I didn't see it with Ohio State. Nova, tactical, got it done. And then Miami, laying 2.5 with Miami against Iowa State in that Friday night Sweet 16 game, got there. This one now is my favorite spot in the tournament, laying the 3.5 with Kansas. And I'm going to try and tie them in on some money line parlays as well, because I really love Kansas. But let's touch quickly on Duke and Carolina. We've seen it so many times. Carolina's playing out of their minds. Duke has been offensively, they found it in the tournament, and they found something with their zone too against Texas Tech that got them through that game and then dominated the Arkansas game. But these teams know each other, and it's Coach K's finale and Hubert Davis's first year. There's so many weird tie-ins to this story. Last 10 matchups between Carolina and Duke, UNC is 8-2 against the spread.
Throw them out, Julian. I don't care.
It's an ACC rivalry. I'm just going to give the number, and then you can tell me to throw it out. 8-2 against the spread for Carolina, covering by an average of over 11 points per game.
Don't care. Don't care.
Go ahead.
Irrelevant. Throw it all out the window, because, man, I've never seen a group more humiliated, more embarrassed than they were on March 5th, right? It's going to be about, 25 days or so since those two teams have seen each other.
And they wanted the revenge spot in the ACC tournament, and Carolina fell short, and now they get it in the Final Four.
They get it exactly where they want it. And they've been salivating, because again, like you said, they didn't think they'd see him in the NCAA tournament. You look at the brackets, and they got him now. And I'm telling you, and Duke, listen, Carolina's played great. And I think their perimeter can match up, right? Like RJ Davis has been awesome.
Yep.
Caleb Love, when he's good, is really, really good. Now he can be really, really bad too. It's the front court that still scares me, right? Brady Manick, he's been great because he's a 6'10" perimeter guy. He could shoot it, so he's a tough matchup. But he's got to make shots, because if he doesn't make those shots, he is a defensive liability. Paolo is going to go to town on him. And I think the other thing was, in the first matchup, Armando Bacot was able to play toe-to-toe with Mark Williams. I'm not sure that's going to be the same. I just think ultimately, there's that taste in their mouths. They're the more talented team. We know that. Wendell Moore's been good. Jeremy Roach has been much, much, much better over the last month or so of the season. I'd lay the points in this one and feel pretty good about it.
Yeah, I'm leaning both the favorites. I'm leaning with Duke here. I'm a little worried with just how well Carolina is playing, and that they kind of have that attitude of, you know what, we'll spoil the party 2 times on Duke and do it again. I haven't bet anything on this game yet. Eventually I'll get around to it. I am kind of leaning towards, if Carolina gets there, I think they're going to kind of have to grind back like they did against UCLA. And like you said, the narrative for Duke and how they want to come out and set the tone in this game, I kind of like Duke first half, which is -2 points. So you get a basket.
That's actually a good one. I like that too.
Good angle, right?
Yeah. I like that a lot. They're going to come out and, yeah. They may come out too amped, Julian.
Well, then, yeah, that could hurt them.
It could, but they're going to come out amped.
Yeah. I'm liking Duke first half and then kind of figure it out from there. You can always play the second half. It's not, I don't think it's going to be a blowout at halftime or anything where you can't get back into the game or anything. Okay, two quick ones we'll spend a couple minutes on before I let you go. But first, I guess who wins it? It sounds like we're gonna have Kansas versus Duke.
It's funny because a week ago, if you had asked me that, I kind of picked Kansas coming out of that. I thought it was going to be Gonzaga, Kansas, and I picked Gonzaga to win it all. So I kind of stuck with Kansas there. And the more I think about the matchup, I don't like it for Kansas. I don't. I like Duke's bigger, stronger, especially at the guard spot. I just think those guards could get swallowed up, Remy Martin and Harris. I don't, and I just, I saw him twice recently. I love Ochai, but he's just not, the thing I worry about him is putting on the floor and getting by dudes. And if Remy can't do that, you rely on him and Christian Brown to do that. And that's not really their strength. That's not who they are. So I just think the matchup, I like Duke. I really do. The more I think about it. So I'm flipping and I'm going Duke to win the whole thing now. And I listen, the other part is, again, how'd you like to be an official in a close game down the stretch of the championship game?
The narrative
with Coach
is real.
K, with Coach K, with his final game, and you're going to make a call against him? Probably not.
Call, yeah, right. Give him a bad call or a no call when it's questionable. Like I'm with you there. There's something to that.
Yep.
So I lean Duke as well. And it's fair to reevaluate at this stage because now there's only 4 teams left versus the whole field. Okay. I have an NBA draft question for you and an NBA question for you before I get you out of here. You can just do a minute each. Real quick, Mark Williams, how much has he helped his draft stock? Is he going, how high is he? Because I see a lot of potential there.
A lot. Like he can be Clint Capella at the worst. To me, I honestly think he's going to be better than Capella.
I agree.
But he's a freak athlete who can protect the rim. He plays so damn hard. He rebounds at a high level. Not a big time scorer, but again, like you don't need him to be. He's so athletic.
He finds it around the rim.
He's awesome. He's awesome. And he's getting better and better and better. I think he can be a guy that eventually makes elbow jumpers consistently. Yep.
And that would help him.
I would take Mark Williams in that 15 to 20 range.
Ooh, all right.
I would take him that high in this draft. I would. You're higher than him?
Yeah, I'm fine with him like back those final few picks in the lottery. Like,
okay, that's fair. 10 to 20. Yeah.
10 to 15. I would be fine depending on what's there, what my needs are. But
I mean, are you taking him? Okay. So most people, there was a time this year where I thought people were out of their minds. Some people were trying to convince me that AJ Griffin should go like, some idiots were like saying like top 3. I'm like,
so I've seen 3, 4, 5, way too high.
Way too high. Like, yeah. What are we doing here? Like AJ Griffin to me is a 10 to 20 guy. I think he's a 10 to 20 guy.
Yeah.
I'm not buying him that high. Now, maybe he'll go that high because he's got size and he can shoot the hell out of the ball. Well, Ochai's got size and he can shoot the hell out of the ball and he's athletic and he can guard some. Like, I don't know. AJ Griffin to me, the love for AJ Griffin so far, maybe I'll be proven wrong. I don't quite understand it for the draft.
Last time we talked, there were no draft odds. DraftKings Sportsbook now has odds just for the number 1 pick. And it's our guy that we both liked last time. Jabari Smith is at even money at the top of the field. Real quick, you can just give me a yes or no. I assume you're a yes there. That's your guy. And I think that's going to, by the time we do all these workouts, it's going to be then Jabari Smith minus 125, then Jabari Smith minus 150. And it's just going to keep going until we get to June.
I'd be surprised. I mean, again, we don't know the team, right? So you're always a little bit scared right now because we don't know the team that's going to get the number 1 pick. And that team just might be in love with Chet or scared to miss on Chet. I just don't know how you take Paolo over Jabari. I don't know how you take Paolo over.
Chet's 4 for me. Chet's 4 for me.
Well, he scares you. He just scares you. That's
Jabari, all. Banchero, Jaden Ivey. I'll go 3, and then I'm there.
Did we talk about my love affair for Shaden Sharp? If he
no, I haven't heard that. I know you're in a time crunch here, but it sounds like you like him. We'll get to that Sharp. Right, we're gonna talk again before the draft. So
we'll do another one. All I'll tell your viewers is wherever he sits right now, if he declares and stays in, which he could go to Kentucky. He's a kid from Canada,
right?
Who reclassified, showed up in Lexington, didn't play a game. Every bit of 6'4", 6'5". I saw him a ton at the Peach Jam last summer, and man, he can score from all three levels, can make the plays with the ball in his hands, make people better. Boy, like, I got to tell you, I think we could be looking at a guy who is the best player to come out of this draft class down the road.
Wow, that would be impressive. I texted you before we came on. I said, who you got for MVP? Because the odds have moved so much, Joel Embiid now minus 160, Jokic down to plus 130. He was plus 160 this morning. DraftKings has the best price in the industry on Jokic. This is like a pick 'em at every other sports book. I gave out Jokic at plus 160 this morning. ESPN had the article that most people, they did the straw vote. Most people are leaning Jokic's way. Talked to some people around the league, just like I texted you, and they said, probably Jokic. You can just
two-man race.
Just say, who's your MVP? You got to vote. Who is it?
Yeah, I would probably go Jokic, but I think here's the only thing I would say is, because he won it, I think there are a lot of people that are like, let's give it to the guy that hasn't won it.
I said that in my tweet. I said the only red flag here, voter fatigue.
Yes.
But
the novelty, and a lot of people, listen, when we vote, and I don't vote for that, but I vote for a lot of things in the college game. And when we vote, if it's close, a lot of people go by like likability. Not that Jokic isn't liked, he is, but Joel is so fun to be around. When you get to know him, you root for Joel, and you root for Joel because, frankly, listen, I've known him since he barely got off the damn bench back in AAU ball through Kansas, and I didn't think he'd be healthy like this. I was worried that his every year was going to be like it was early in the season. So I could see people at the end of the day looking at it and saying, you know what, I'm going to give it to Joel. I don't know if he's going to have a chance for another one.
Yeah, I hear you on that. All right, Jeff Goodman from Stadium, thank you as always for joining us on Unreasonable Odds. I'm sure we will talk sometime around June and do some NBA draft insight like we did last year, and like we've already been doing this year.
We'll do it in person. How about we do it, outside, good weather, on Newbury Street or something like that in Boston? That's what we need to do.
Newbury Street, right around the corner from DraftKings HQ. Yes. We will have you in, and we'll figure something like that out. All right. Thank you, Jeff. I'll be back on the other side of this. I'm going to wrap up the pod a couple minutes solo and touch on a couple other things. All right. Thank you, as always, to Jeff Goodman from Stadium for coming on, breaking down the Final Four, giving some NBA draft advice. And like he said, we'll be doing it again closer to the draft. Few things I wanted to expand on. Number one, the MVP bet. We'll see where that's at by the time you're listening to this. It should be around a pick 'em for Jokic. But that's one that I like a lot. Just talking from the people that I've talked to around the league, all kind of pointing towards Jokic. They don't seem that voter fatigue, and I mentioned it, and Jeff brought it up as well. It's a thing, but they still seem to be going Jokic. So I don't have a problem getting good plus money on him. If we go, let me see. I'm going to open the ESPN article just so that I give you guys the exact numbers from this poll. So Tim Bontemps, ESPN, put it out. The results from the final MVP straw poll are in, and there's now a major change with less than 2 weeks remaining before all ballots are due. If you go look at my Jokic play on Twitter with odds from DraftKings Sportsbook, I quote tweeted this article from ESPN. So basically, 100 people were polled, reporters around the NBA across 28 markets. So to make it relatively even, 62 of those 100 voted Jokic first place. And it was heavy Embiid last time. So you look at Jokic coming off like another monster triple-double, another win. Sixers lose to the Suns. Sixers have a big one tonight, Tuesday, March 29th against the Bucks. If Philly keeps losing some games, Celtics maybe steal that division. If the Nuggets keep winning, maybe they steal the division from the Jazz. I think there's narratives here for Jokic to get it once again. And real quick in the awards market, it's late in the season, but it's like an edge to be able to vote, to be able to bet on this stuff this late in the season. Evan Mobley's been the rookie of the year all year. He's still laying minus 450 on DraftKings Sportsbook. You can get Scotty Barnes plus 300. What's happened in the past week? The Toronto Raptors have surpassed the Cleveland Cavaliers in the standings in the Eastern Conference. Barnes and Mobley have almost identical numbers. Barnes is playing more minutes. Barnes is playing a larger role. I love Evan Mobley, but this isn't done. And Evan Mobley rolled his ankle on Monday night. Might miss these last handful of regular season games in return for the postseason. There's room for Barnes to make up some slack here. So Scotty Barnes plus 300 for rookie of the year. I'm thinking about giving that one out as well. I think there's some value there for a smaller bet, not as big as Jokic, but some meat on the bone there. All right, so that'll do it for NBA. I will say NBA Tuesday night, quick pause. So we should get a quick turnaround here. We're recording. It's 1:24 p.m. Eastern on Tuesday. Bucks even money against the Sixers. I like the Bucks money line over the Sixers. There's your Tuesday night NBA play. If Rudy Gobert is out for the Jazz and Paul George plays, Clippers plus 105 money line in Paul George's return at home to beat the Utah Jazz. Got to have no Gobert there to play that one. MLB. I won't be talking much MLB, but I will promote Steve Buchanan is going to return to the podcast. He's actually going to do one. He's actually going to give me a break. I'm going to take this episode off, but it'll be out this week. Steve Buchanan and Robert Flores from MLB Network. Steve goes on MLB Network 3 times a week in season, does his segments with Roflo. So Roflo is going to return the favor. Come on Unreasonable Odds with Steve and do a huge MLB preview. Gets going next week. So that's pretty cool to have. In honor of the podcast, since I won't be on it, yes, I will give plays. I'm not a coward. Detroit Tigers win total. Under 78.5, 77.5, doesn't matter. Under on the Detroit Tigers. And another way to bet it, Steve put this play in his article, but where do you think he got it? Got it from me. I showed him if you go to win total match bets, you can get the Seattle Mariners minus 6.5 wins against those Detroit Tigers that I'll be fading at plus 105. I do think Steve's Mariners, who signed his guy, Robbie Ray, are going to be good this year. And I think the Tigers are going to be bad. So give me the Mariners to win 7 or more games than the Tigers, and you get plus 105 on that. There's your MLB picks. I'm giving it out before Steve gives it out to you tomorrow after stealing it from me. So that's something that you want to tune into. Unreasonable Odds, Steve Buchanan, Robert Flores of MLB Network, doing our MLB preview. Thank you for listening to this edition of the Unreasonable Odds podcast. No podcast before the national championship game, so you'll want to tune into the Sweat on Monday, April 4th, the game of the Natty. And I'll be on the show giving out my plays for the national championship game on Monday, April 4th. So yeah, follow us on Twitter at Unreasonable Odds. Follow me on Twitter at Julian Edlow. Follow Steve on Twitter at SBuchanan24. You can even follow Samir on Twitter. And that'll round it out for us. So I will talk to you next week. Steve will talk to you later this week. Go Nuggets. Go Nikola Jokic. Win another MVP. Samir wants me to tell you it's at Samir Dauk. His name, there's nothing fancy about it. Thank you for throwing that in, Samir. I was going to look up your Twitter. Now it's there. Now I'm rambling. That's a podcast. Talk to you next week.